Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have a 4-leg parlay to go ahead and share with you guys for today's NBA slate. Only one game on tonight. We have Warriors, Timberwolves, game 2. Only one game. I figured the best bet to go ahead and attack this game would be with a parlay. So we have a 4-leg parlay on FanDuel. Right now, it's plus 275, so some pretty good value on this 4-leg parlay. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. Jumping on over to GuyBostonSports.com. Last night was not a terrible night, but it also wasn't a very good night either. Went 2-2 last night. Mikal Bridges over 3.5 rebounds and SGA over 39.5 points plus assists. We cashed on both of those. Unfortunately, Jokic and more so Jason Tatum took a massive shit in their pants on national television last night. Jokic really disappointing, but Tatum obviously being a Celtics fan and watching how that game unfolded, absolutely horrific. The end of both game 1 and game 2, I don't want to get into it. I could spend probably an hour ranting and raving about how pissed I am about how game 1 and game 2 have unfolded for the Celtics. But rest assured, very disappointing night from Tatum and the Boston Celtics. So 2-2 last night. We did have a minor loss from a unit standpoint, minus 0.33. A record still on the year, though. Really solid. Over 28 units profit between parlays and single bets on the year. 222 and 183 in our single bet category. So like I said, not a great night, but not a bad night either. But we got a nice parlay to go ahead and bounce back with. In today's video, we got another parlay, our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay, coming in tomorrow's video. So 2 days of parlays in a row. And without further ado, guys, let's jump right into today's picks. Jumping right on over to the outlier screen, guys. And if you're watching today's video at this point, comment Tatum or the thumbs down emoji in the comment section. We got to let Tatum know that's not acceptable. You cannot be you're supposed to be one of the 5 best players or whatever, 7 best players in the league. You cannot have a game like that, but also game 1, he didn't play well either. 2 games in a row where he's proving all of his haters and doubters absolutely right. So comment Tatum with the thumbs down below in the comments. I love the guy as a Celtics fan, but my God, the last 2 games have been woefully disappointing. But enough about Tatum and the Celtics. We have a new day and a new parlay to share with you guys here. Warriors, Timberwolves, game 2, 8:30 p.m. tip-off. Right off the bat, we have to mention, of course, the fact that Steph Curry is not playing tonight. He is out game 2, which is a massive injury with massive implications for this game. And so for the first leg of our 4-leg parlay, we are using FanDuel for today's parlay. Shout out to FanDuel. We're going Jimmy Butler of the Golden State Warriors over 5.5 assists. Yes, we are using all alternate lines for this parlay. Minus 230 over on FanDuel. And look, guys, obviously this being an alternate line, the data is going to be a little bit stronger than it would be from a single bet perspective. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 5.9 assists per game over his last 10 games. Now, believe it or not, the overall numbers are actually not that strong for Jimmy Butler, but we're really focused on the playoff performances here for Jimmy, and especially the last 5 games, all playoff games, of course. 4 of his last 5 games, he cashed the over. That's an 80% hit rate, averaging 6.2 assists per game over his last 5 games. If we go back to that last 10-game chart here, obviously most of these games now are the playoffs. Coming into game 2, he's played 7 playoff games. He's cashed the over in 5 out of 7 playoff games. So pretty solid numbers here so far this postseason for Jimmy Butler on this line. And from a head-to-head perspective, very small sample size, but he obviously did play Minnesota in game 1 and had 8 assists in game 1. And that's really what I'm basing this off of. Obviously, with Steph Curry being out, Jimmy Butler now becomes the number 1 option on the Golden State Warriors. And I think everybody's first instinct would be to bet his points, but I do think Minnesota, obviously a very solid defensive team, they're going to key in on the fact that Curry is out and they're going to target Butler. That could create a lot of assist opportunities. And you did see that in game 1. When Curry went down, Butler became the primary creator of the offense, setting people up. Yes, he scored points as well, but the assist opportunities were there. He had 8 assists in game 1. And look at the potential assists. He had 10. So he was very effective, but played 41 minutes. He knows he's going to play a lot of minutes again here in game 2. And obviously, I think the opportunities for assists are going to be plentiful for Butler. They're going to make it difficult for him to score, but it's going to give him opportunities to go ahead and swing the ball and get open looks for other players. Again, not a lot of data to go off of for this point. I apologize for that. But seeing how game 1 played out and obviously knowing that Curry's not playing, just, obviously the offense is now going to run for Jimmy Butler that means a lot of assist opportunities. So that's the first leg of our 4-leg parlay, excuse me. And for our second leg of our 4-leg parlay, we're sticking with another assist prop. We got Julius Randle of the Timberwolves over 3.5 assists, minus 295 over on FanDuel. Highly juiced alternate line. Now, one of the big reasons why I liked the Randle trade for Minnesota in the offseason was the fact that I think Randle, more so than just being a scorer, is also a very good passer and a guy who can help run the offense from a distribution standpoint. And he's proven that at times. Not very consistently, but at times he's proven it. But the data is pretty strong. Last 10 games, 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 4.7 assists per game over his last 10. Game 1 included, he had 6 assists in Game 1 against the Warriors, and they only scored 88 points, Minnesota did. So very low scoring game, yet he still had 6 assists in that game, 11 potential assists, and he only played 30.6 minutes. So he's definitely going to play more, I think. You look at the last playoff series versus the Lakers, a lot of minutes played for Randle there. I think he'll definitely play more minutes, as the series progresses, especially in this game. Obviously lose Game 1. We've seen a lot of, now every time I say this, I've been wrong, but the Cavs, the Celtics, these home court teams have been blowing the home court advantage. Let's see if Minnesota does the same here, but obviously going to Golden State down 0-2, especially when they don't have Curry, you've got to take advantage. You've got to win tonight. I expect Minnesota's offense to be a lot better in Game 2 than it was in Game 1. I think Randle's passing and his playmaking ability will definitely contribute to that. I'm not just blowing smoke out of my ass here. Overall this year, a 67% hit rate on the over for Randle, 50 out of 75 games, including playoffs from Minnesota. He's cashed the over, averaging 4.68 assists per game this year. And from a head-to-head perspective, 4 of his last 5 matchups with the Golden State Warriors, including, again, Game 1, he's cashed the over. And 4 of these 5 games, actually all these games you see in this data range are all from this year. So as a member of the Timberwolves, 4 out of 5 games he's cashed the over against the Warriors. And he's averaging across those 5 games only 30.4 minutes. You know he's going to play more minutes than that. But the potential assists, averaging 8.2 potential assists per game. And honestly, he's gotten at least 8 in 4 of the 5. So pretty good matchup here for Randle. I think it's a pretty good spot as the second leg of our 4-leg parlay. All right, guys, for our third leg of our 4-leg parlay, we're going Naz Reid over 9.5 points. Now, he did us very well in Game 1. We had him as a single bet over 16.5 points, rebounds, assists. He cashed it just in points alone in Game 1. Now, Naz Reid, a little tricky to bet on here in the playoffs because you see here, he's had some solid games, and then he follows up with 3 points versus the Lakers in Game 5, had 23 points in Game 1 versus the Lakers, followed it up with 9 points in Game 2. He can be a little bit of a difficult player to get a read on, but the data across the board is very solid. 7 of his last 10, which includes a lot of playoff games. He's cashed the over, averaging 12.6 points per game. So far this year, a 72% hit rate on this over. 62 out of 86 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 14.13 points per game this year. So pretty good numbers across the board for Naz Reid. And from a head-to-head perspective, including Game 1 of the playoffs, now 7 of his last 8 matchups with the Golden State Warriors, he's cashed the over. It's an 88% hit rate against Golden State, averaging 13.63 points per game across those last 8 matchups with the Warriors. So really phenomenal data across the board for Naz Reid. The one miss, December 6th of this season, I should say, he had 9 points. He missed it by 1 point, but pretty good numbers across the board here for Naz Reid, including 4 consecutive matchups with Golden State. He's cashed the over. Now, he played almost 34 minutes in Game 1. Will he play that much in Game 2? We will see. One of the big things that's interesting here, and we saw it happen in Game 1 like I predicted, was obviously the Warriors' small ball kind of makes it difficult at times to play Gobert. You turn to Naz Reid a little bit more often. That's what they did in Game 1, but we did see in the Lakers series in Game 2, adjustments were made, and Naz Reid was kind of pushed off, and they put Gobert back on the court. Well, the same thing happened again here in Game 2 of this series. It remains to be seen, but he took 14 shots, shot 8 for 14, so could have even done even more. But again, we only need him to score 10 points. You could cut 9 points off his performance, 3 shots at least, 4 shots at least, and you still cash the over. So we don't need him to have as big of a production game as he did in Game 1, but I think 10 points is very realistic here for Naz Reid as the third leg of our 4-leg parlay. All right, guys, in our fourth and final leg in today's parlay, we're going Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves over 36.5 points plus rebounds plus assists, minus 270 over on FanDuel. Before I even get into the numbers here, and I know I used this kind of thought process in yesterday's picks with Jokic and Tatum, which obviously didn't work out for me, although it did kind of work out for SGA's pick. You lose Game 1, embarrassing loss on your home court to a Warriors team that had lost Steph early in the game. Now you have Game 2, still on your home court. You're down 0-1. The Warriors are without Curry. I think Minnesota cannot afford to lose this game. You cannot go back to Golden State down 0-2, especially knowing that basically both of the games, the Warriors didn't have their best player. You've got to take advantage. And the Warriors, just because they don't have Curry, they're not going to be a pushover team. They're still going to be a tough team, as they showed in Game 1. Yes, losing Curry hurts them, but they can still play hard and still even win without Curry. They're going to need Anthony Edwards to step up. Now, he did cash this line in game one, despite the fact that they lost and they only scored, they only scored 88 points as a team and they lost. He still cashed the over with 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 assists in game one. So he did cash the over in game one, so already 100% in this series. Overall this year, last 10 games, 6 of his last 10, he's cashed the over. Overall this year, a 53% hit rate on the over, 45 out of 85 games, including playoffs. He's cashed this line, averaging 38.02 PRAs per game this year. And the head-to-head department against the Golden State Warriors, pretty good numbers here. 6 of his last 8 matchups with Golden State, he's cashed the over. That's a 75% hit rate, averaging 37.5 PRAs per game across the last 8 matchups with Golden State. And including playoffs this year, he's played them 5 times. He's cashed the over in 4 of the 5 matchups. The one missed being December 21st, where he had 19.7 rebounds and 5 assists. Now, a lot of these are narrow cashes, right? He cashed by 1, 2, 2, 3. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very narrow cashes here, but they are cashes nonetheless. And I do think Golden State, Minnesota, they have to take advantage of the fact that Golden State is without Curry. And I think Anthony Edwards needs to come with his A game brought. I do love him. He's kind of a baby Michael Jordan vibes. He's let me down a couple times here in the playoffs or even in this season where I've kind of thought highly of him. And I thought, okay, this is the game he's going to come through. This game 2 versus the Lakers in particular. But overall, he's got that dog in him, and I do think, obviously, down 0-1 on home court, no Steph Curry. You got to take advantage of this performance, of this situation. I think Anthony Edwards will rise to the occasion. So I do get a little nervous because, again, there's such narrow cashes on this line. But I do think that Anthony Edwards will step up for the Timberwolves in this game. Very important. Again, you lose this game, now you're down 0-2 to the Warriors team that didn't even have Steph. They're going to get Steph back at some point in this series. You just want to make sure that you're at least even or close within striking distance before Curry gets back. So that's the 4th and final leg of today's parlay. Jumping on over to FanDuel, quick little recap. We have Naz Reid over 9.5 points or to score 10 or more points, however the terminology goes. Julius Randle to record 4 or more assists, over 3.5 assists. Jimmy Butler over 5.5 assists, and Anthony Edwards over 36.5 points, rebounds, assists. You parlay all 4 together over on FanDuel. You get a parlay of plus 275. Really awesome. They also are offering, as you can see right here, a same game parlay, 30% profit boost, which you could go ahead and throw onto this parlay here. Pretty solid value on a nice little 4-leg parlay. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay in another NBA player prop video. But until then, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Thursday. Let's go ahead and make some money.